Family Court Friday with your host, author April Gabriella of the Myth of the Broken Home series. Today I am going to bring a case to you. First, let me say thank you very much for being a part of Family Court Friday. This is our first video on our launching of Family Court Friday. And what Family Court Friday is, it is a series of court cases that I visit around the country, and I give my commentary to the rulings or just the observations of what's going on in the court. And of course, Family Court Friday speaks for itself. It's cases dealing with divorce, separations, custody issues, visitation. Bring to you is content that is valuable for you and your lives. You know, often people find themselves in situations that are very unfamiliar to them. And what happens is they're a little uncomfortable. So I hope that by reviewing the cases online, the blog, and listening to my commentary, that you'll be a little bit more comfortable with your own situation. And you'll understand a little bit more about how the courts run, and then just hearing from me. I am not an attorney, and I'm not here to give you legal advice. However, I do have in my resources a plethora of attorneys, family law attorneys, that can assist you if you ever think that you need to contact one for your situation. First case I have here, but first let me say this. When I went into the courtroom, it's in San Diego County, I entered the courthouse. I went up the escalator and I came up off the escalator, and there seemed like hundreds and hundreds of people. It was covered with people. And I didn't understand. I immediately began to look for the media. I'm like, what's going on? Why are there so many people here in family court? It was really peculiar. So I just went ahead and, sat down on the benches as I waited for the bailiffs to open the door to the courtroom I was interested in attending. I had already reviewed the docket, so I was already a little familiar with the cases that I was interested in reviewing. And so my curiosity got the best of me, and I just couldn't help myself. So there was a guy standing next to me that was part of the crowd, and I asked him, I said, excuse me, I said, what is this for? Why are all these people here? Why are there so many people here? And he said that they were there for a domestic violence murder case, and they were representing the victim. Immediately my heart dropped. I was, I'm so sorry. And before I could ask anything else, the bailiff came and opened up the door, and the people just flowed into the courtroom, started to flow into the courtroom. I wanted so badly to go and listen to this case. But two things came across. I immediately had a ton of emotions that came over me, having been a survivor of domestic violence. And so I wasn't sure if I should be in there either. Not sure how it would affect me as well, but it was really heartbreaking. And I said, it is my goal. You will find cases on the blog where I have visited the domestic violence courtroom, because I'm really interested to seeing if anything's progressed since I was a victim in 2001. First case that is coming up was a case of, I believe, child visitation in custody. And so the mother came into the courtroom, and again, so what happens is the bailiff calls the calendar, the docket and the calendar, to make sure everyone is present that should be. And anyway, the mother comes to the courtroom, and she's pretty well dressed, and she goes before the judge, and the judge basically asked if the father was present, and the father was not present. She asked if the father had been served. And the mother explained yes, and how he was served. And so from that, the mother initially was seeking full custody, full physical and full legal custody, sole custody. And as the judge began to review the case, she asked, did the father just disappear? What happened to the father? Did the father disappear? And the mother just stated that she had not seen the father. And so what the petitioner, the mother, received, however, was legal custody and shared visitation. And the judge felt that was best, and then in the interest of the father, although he was not there, she also, in hopes, I'm sure, making sure that the father in the future, who knows, would have an opportunity to visit his child. But the judge did mention that the reason why she gave the mother, of course, legal custody was so the mother can make decisions based on the child's behalf for medical reasons, school reasons, all those things that you have to basically as a parent need authorization for. Let me say, I kind of went through a little of that when my children were younger, and more so with my son's father, who was in the military. And there was a period of time where I modeled professionally, and so I had to leave town an awful lot. And so my parents actually would care for my son at those times. And so when my parents had moved away, my son lived with them for a short period of time, maybe about 4 months or so. And I remember his father became very angry. Now, his father didn't live in California any longer, nor did he reside the location of where my son was living with my parents. And so he lived actually on the East Coast. But I remember he just pitched a fit. He was so angry that my parents were helping me care for my son so I could try to make a living. And so he did ask for a court hearing. We did the court hearing via teleconference. At least he called in. I think I called in as well. And the judge basically said to him that he had no rights to, when it came down to who would care for our son, because he was not in the picture. He was nowhere around. I mean, how can you make a decision when you're not even here as a physical part of your son's life or your child's life and they're growing up? So why would you object to that? My daughter's case, I'm not sure what kind of custody we really had, but I know her father really did not take a big part in making any of those decisions as far as her medical, her education. He was rarely involved in any of those things, her education. And I do remember we went to court. It was a child support court, and he didn't have medical insurance for her. My employer, through my employment, I maintained medical insurance for her. And so he attempted to argue that my daughter did not need braces. However, he didn't have medical insurance. He said that he should have been notified. Really? Really? You should be notified? You don't even take her to the doctor. You don't call and make appointments for her. You rarely even inquire about her medical situation. So I think, like the judge thought, you don't even cover any medical expenses. But the judge made him pay a portion every month towards her braces. And so that, again, I think is a lot of what this judge's ruling was in this courtroom. That the legal aspect, the legal decisions, is what the mother required so she could continue to make decisions on behalf of her. At the end of the court case, the judge wished the mother well and looked forward to the father being a part of the child's life. The mother walked away seeming very relieved, and I know what that's like. You know, it seems like you're up there forever. But the mother walked away very relieved, and it was a good thing. So it was a good thing. So she'll probably have to deal with it later, but that's okay for right now. She'll be able to go ahead and make decisions. Thank you so much for listening to me today on Family Court Friday. Look every Friday for a different case. Look for resources that we plan to have. I'm going to probably, hopefully, interview some legal experts in the community. Parents, you'll see some interviews from parents as well going through this process. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to blog. Just don't be mean. If you're going through something, be real about it. It's okay. You know, we understand that as well. But this again is author April Gabriella, your host for Family Court Friday. See you soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.